made some great strides in having people represent the homeless. I think they're in a number of homeless groups, and I commend them because it's something that comes from your heart. You just don't get up and want to go out and help the homeless because you want to help the homeless. But I do the Undoing Racism because it's not about people being racist. It's about people not understanding poverty, the underlying factors. And when you go to fix a problem, if you don't understand how it got created, you're only going to be another Band-Aid. And you're going to just keep wondering and hoping, and eventually you'll begin to blame the very people you're trying to help because they don't come in, or they don't respond well, or they don't follow the rules. I remember when Urban Ministry was first placed in this neighborhood. We tried to work with Urban Ministry, you know, go down and volunteer. But what I first saw was that men in the neighborhood, I saw two men who lived in the neighborhood who didn't go home the weekend, took the money and drank or whatever they did. And they went and they were laying on this cot on the floor. And that was because they had an open door policy. So the gentleman had, you know, gone out and wild goosed it and drank up the money from the family, and so they didn't want to go home, so they went to Urban Ministry. That has stayed with me ever since as one of the reasons, the things that I understood more about poverty and race than anything else. Because it was hard to go back to Urban Ministry and say, what are you trying to create here? Your very presence here is adverse to what you think it's doing. Because when a person can come and just walk and go in and get some soup and something, lay down, and not taking care of their obligations, it becomes just a cycle. You know, you do it one week, you do it the next week, and then all of a sudden you're not responsible anymore. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. And that's what I see happening. And you know, when not only that, but then back in those days in the mid-'80s, you would come down the street and see people laying on the ground, just sleep drunk. What a sight. It hurt so bad for me to see that. Along the same time, the state closed a lot of mental institutions. So we were inheriting people from those institutions. So you had people coming who really weren't that responsible mentally, and they would just go in your house, break in your house, eat food, go out and lay on your lawn. I mean, it just, those kinds of things were continuously happening. So we had one neighbor, Gail Hatcher, who lived right in front of Urban Ministry. She has three children, and they were all small. And she was raising her kids, and what they were subjected to caused her to move from the neighborhood. And that hurt us because she was a great neighbor. She worked hard to help with the revitalization. But she couldn't stay here any longer for the sake of her family. And to lose Gail, she did one of the first remodeling of one of the homes there, the White House with the green trim. And those are things that just you never forget, because people outside of your community don't know that struggle. They don't know the struggle she had, not to want to move, but for the sake of her children to have to move. So we went into mediation with Urban Ministry because it was just more than we could take. And through that mediation, Urban Ministry realized they didn't need to be where they were. So that's why they own East Lee Street. You know, but they got a big gift to move, and that's because somebody thought they were doing a great work, and they probably were in some respects. We tried to tell them of programs they should bring. Substance abuse, Alcoholics Anonymous was one, because many of the clients were just drinking and getting drunk and laying all over the neighborhood, breaking glass on broken glass would be all over vacant property. And it was a shame that we had to live this way. My kids had to go out of the house and be subjected to this. What kind of, what do kids think? And if the parents don't get involved and try to do something about it, it's even worse for the kids. You get socialized to think this is okay, this is where this is your lot. This is where you gotta live. So I've done that because I didn't want my kids to think that I didn't care about what goes on around me, and that I wanted the best for them, and they should want the best for themselves and do the best they could. So they both went off to college. Through it all, I went off to college with some scholarship, and I'm proud of them today. But if I sat back and didn't do anything, I don't know if they would have had the initiative to just keep pushing and rise out of that. And one of my sons is back in this neighborhood working with us to try to continue to make improvements. So it's something you take on, and it won't let go, and that's why I'm running for this office. That's just one of the issues, The other issue I'm concerned about is the various programs that we have, and I think I already said this, is how much energy and effort people put into stuff without really having an undergirding of what are some of the things they need to really address in order to improve conditions that they're trying to work on. So I see poverty as very big business, 9 to 5. I've also been used by a lot of organizations to bring programs into the neighborhood because people were caring and wanted to come out and help. And matter of fact, Project Greensboro started that way. But I understand differently, and I want to help other people understand. It's a matter of us learning how to serve. And we all do it in some capacity, but we need to know how to do it. So that's why I keep doing this work, keep doing undoing racism. Hope we'll reach more and more people that can really understand the roots of poverty, really understand what you have to address when you're dealing with people who are poor.